Welcome to the AI Coach by Anil Nathu. Large language models, LLMs, they've exploded onto the scene, haven't they? Fundamentally changing what's possible with AI. From powering the chatbots we chat with daily to actually writing code, their impact is just undeniable.
Oh, absolutely. They're really shifting the landscape, enabling machines to understand and, generate human language with a fluency we just haven't seen before.
Exactly. So our mission today is, pretty straightforward. We want to cut through the hype and really understand the core of LLMs. What they are, how they function, and crucially, why they matter so much. We'll be drawing on the AI Coach blog post, which does a great job distilling insights from that 2025 publication, Foundations of Large Language Models by Teng Xiao and Jingbo Zhu. Think of this as your express route to grasping these powerful technologies, whether you're a developer looking to build with them, maybe an entrepreneur eyeing their potential, or just someone fascinated by the future.
And what the AI Coach blog does so well, I think, is move beyond just the technical specs. It really highlights the real-world significance and, the practical implications of these advancements.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The AI Coach blog, taking its lead from Xiao and Zhu, points to a real turning point in natural language processing. We've moved from building individual models for specific tasks to this newer idea of pre-training and then fine-tuning. What's the core difference there and why is it so significant?
Well, the game changer is really that shift away from training separate AIs for every single language task, one for translation and another for summarizing. Instead, LLMs go through this big initial phase called self-supervised pre-training. And what's fascinating here is that they learn a massive amount about language in the world just by being exposed to huge amounts of unlabeled text. They pick up patterns, relationships, predicting things like missing words or the next word in a sentence. Think of it like them developing a fundamental sort of base understanding of how language works, even before they're asked to do anything specific.
Right, so they build this incredibly broad base of knowledge first. And for you, the listener, who wants to get up to speed quickly, this pre-training is really key because it gives these models a massive head start. Now, the AI Coach blog outlined three main types of LLM architectures: encoder-only, decoder-only, and encoder-decoder. Can you break down the essential distinction?
Sure. Each architecture excels at different things, fundamentally. Encoder-only models, BERT, is a prime example. They're designed to deeply understand language. By processing the whole input at once, they grasp context and relationships really well. So, great for tasks like classifying text or sentiment analysis.
Okay, I understand
Then
that.
you have decoder-only models, like GPT. These work by predicting the next piece of text sequentially. That makes them powerhouses for generating content, writing.
Generations, got
And
it.
then encoder-decoder models combine the strengths of both. The encoder digests the input, the decoder generates a relevant output, very effective for, say, translation or summarizing longer texts. It's really about choosing the right tool for the job, and the architecture dictates those core strengths.
Right, right. So the architecture sets their inherent capabilities. And then, as the AI Coach blog details, we have these crucial stages: pre-training, which we've touched on, and then fine-tuning. How does that fine-tuning step refine the initial broad knowledge?
Yeah, it's a good analogy to think about learning. Pre-training is like getting that broad liberal arts education a wide foundation. Fine-tuning is then like specializing, law school, med school. After that massive initial training, you take an LLM and train it further, but on a much smaller specific data set to make it really excel at a particular task. For instance, you could fine-tune a general model on medical text to create an AI better at answering patient questions or assisting with diagnosis.
Oh, okay.
And the AI Coach blog also points out, importantly, that instead of always doing extensive fine-tuning, we can often just use clever prompting to guide these pre-trained models.
Which leads us right into prompting and this idea of in-context learning. That sounds like a much more agile way to work with them.
Absolutely. Prompting is a fascinating alternative. Instead of retraining the whole model, you essentially give it instructions or examples in natural language right there in the prompt before it does the task. The AI Coach blog talks about zero-shot learning, where the model just gets it from your instruction alone, and few-shot learning, where you give a couple of examples in the prompt to show it what you mean.
Just a couple of examples.
Exactly. And this is incredibly powerful because it means you can adapt these models to new situations super quickly without the time and resources needed for that big retraining effort. It's often a real aha moment when you realize how fast you can direct their abilities just with words.
It really is like having this incredibly knowledgeable assistant who just needs clear instructions for each new thing you throw at them. Now, obviously, these models are enormous, trained on colossal data sets. The AI Coach blog also gets into the challenges of scaling and efficiency. What are the big hurdles there?
Yeah, this brings up the, let's say, practical realities of working at this scale. Training these LLMs demands just massive amounts of high-quality data, and that data needs careful preparation, cleaning. It also requires immense computational power. We're talking distributed training across many specialized processors, GPUs usually.
Huge infrastructure.
Definitely. And then, even once trained, efficiently handling long sequences of text, like remembering context over many paragraphs that present significant technical challenges. In terms of the model architecture itself and memory management, the AI Coach blog rightly points to the sheer complexity involved in making these models both powerful and efficient to run.
It's staggering, really, to think about the resources involved. Another key point the AI Coach blog emphasizes, drawing from Zhao and Zhu, is this crucial aspect of aligning LLMs with human intent. It's not just about capability, it's about making them genuinely useful and safe. How's that achieved?
Right, alignment is absolutely critical. It's about ensuring these powerful tools behave in ways that are consistent with what we actually want. We need them to be helpful, truthful, and crucially, not produce harmful or biased outputs.
So how do we steer them?
Well, the AI Coach blog explains it's mainly done through techniques like instruction fine-tuning, basically training models on examples of instructions and good, helpful responses. And also, very importantly, reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF.
RLHF.
With RLHF, humans actually evaluate the model's different outputs. They rank them or give feedback. And that feedback is used to train a separate reward system. This reward system then guides the LLM during further training to generate more desirable, safer responses, the kind humans preferred.
I see. So human judgment directly shapes the AI's behavior.
Exactly. This focus on alignment is absolutely vital for building trust and ensuring these models can be used responsibly out there in the real world.
Couldn't agree more. And this leads us nicely to the practical lessons that the AI Coach blog distills, specifically for business leaders and entrepreneurs. This is where the rubber really meets the road for you, our listeners.
Precisely. The AI Coach blog offers some really key strategic insights here. One is the importance of investing in or leveraging these generalizable foundation models because they have that broad pre-training, right? They can be adapted to a whole range of tasks much more efficiently than building specialized models from scratch every time.
Saves time and resources.
Big time. Another crucial point is prioritizing data quality and diversity in any training data you use. The LLM's performance and reliability depend directly on that. The blog also really stresses the agility that prompting offers, allowing you to pivot how you use these models really quickly without needing that lengthy retraining cycle.
Those are definitely actionable insights. What other practical guidance does the AI Coach by Anil Nathu provide in that post?
Well, the blog further emphasizes the need for scalable infrastructure if you're planning for long-term deployment of LLMs. You have to be ready for the computational demands. It also highlights the absolute necessity of focusing on human alignment. Building user trust through safe, predictable model behavior is paramount.
Makes sense.
And finally, it points out the inherent multilingual and cross-domain capabilities that often come with these big foundation models, which opens up vast new possibilities for applications globally. The AI Coach blog really does a good job bridging that gap between the technical stuff and the practical business side.
Okay, great. Now, let's maybe zoom in a bit on some of the core takeaways from the Foundations of Large Language Models book itself, as highlighted by the AI Coach blog. Chapter 1 focuses on pre-training. What are the fundamental principles we should really grasp from that?
Yeah, the blog summary of Chapter 1 makes it clear. Pre-training is the absolute bedrock. It's all about enabling LLMs to learn that general language understanding and sort of world knowledge from just vast amounts of unlabeled data. The key mechanism here is self-supervised. Learning the model learns from the data itself by predicting things.
Like filling in blanks.
Exactly, like decoder-only models predicting the next word, or encoder-only models like BERT using masked language modeling predicting missing words in a sentence. The blog emphasizes that this pre-training creates this really strong foundation that you can then leverage for specific tasks, either through fine-tuning or, as we discussed, prompting.
Okay, that foundation is key. Chapter 2 then delves into generative models. What are the essential insights there, according to the blog's summary?
The AI Coach blog's take on Chapter 2 highlights that generative LLMs fundamentally work by modeling the probability of sequences of words or tokens. It emphasizes the decoder-only transformer architecture as the dominant approach for generation right now, and it describes how these models are trained simply to predict, the next token. Importantly, it reiterates how fine-tuning lets us adapt these powerful pre-trained generative models for specific tasks, like writing different styles of text using smaller, labeled datasets.
Right.
The blog also touches again on aligning these models with human preferences using things like instruction tuning. And of course, prompting is presented again as that very flexible way to guide their output without needing to retrain. Finally, the summary doesn't shy away from the significant engineering challenges involved in actually training these models at scale, data, compute, all of it.
So building them is a major undertaking, but the flexibility they offer once built is a huge advantage. Chapter 3 then focuses specifically on the art and science of prompting. What are the key lessons there as outlined by the AI Coach blog?
Prompting. The blog's breakdown of Chapter 3 really emphasizes that effective prompting is just critical for getting the most out of LLMs. It's how you talk to them. It outlines key principles for designing good prompts. Be
Mhm.
clear, be specific, maybe provide context or assign a role to the model, like act as a travel agent.
Giving it a persona.
Exactly. And including examples for in-context learning, it then explains those different levels. Zero-shot, one-shot, and few-shot learning based on the examples you give. The blog also details various prompt engineering strategies, ways to guide the model's reasoning process or incorporate external knowledge, like through retrieval augmented generation or RAG, which I know the AI coach by Anil Nathu has discussed in other contexts too. It's about feeding it relevant info.
Okay, so bringing outside facts into the prompt.
Precisely. And it touches on more advanced techniques too, like chain of thought prompting to get the model to think step by step, and self-refinement where the model critiques its own output.
Wow, it sounds like mastering the prompt is really becoming a key skill in this whole AI age.
It absolutely is.
Lastly, Chapter 4 addresses that critical topic of alignment. What are the core takeaways from that chapter, according to the AI Coach blog summary?
Right, alignment. The blog summary of Chapter 4 focuses squarely on how we ensure LLMs behave ethically and, in line with human values and intentions. It highlights the three main approaches: supervised fine-tuning, SFT, that reinforcement learning from human feedback, RLHF we talked about, and also techniques applied during inference time, right when the model is generating a response.
Okay, three main paths.
Yeah. It explains how instruction tuning uses data sets of instructions and desired responses to align the model through SFT. Then it details the RLHF process, again, how human preferences train that reward model, which guides the main LLM. It also mentions ongoing improvements to RLHF, like direct preference optimization, which aims to make the process more efficient. The consistent emphasis on alignment in resources like the AI Coach blog really underscores just how crucial this is for the field.
So alignment is really about making sure these incredibly powerful tools are used responsibly and ultimately for the benefit of humanity.
Precisely.
Hmm.
It's a complex, ongoing effort to ensure these models are not just intelligent, but genuinely beneficial and safe.
Well, this deep dive into the AI Coach article, which itself builds on foundations of large language models, has given us, I think, a really solid understanding of these transformative technologies. We've seen how pre-training provides that vast foundation,
Right.
how fine-tuning and especially prompting allow for incredible adaptability,
Yeah, flexibility is key.
and the absolutely critical importance of aligning these powerful models with human values.
Absolutely. Understanding these core principles, the how and the why, is just essential for anyone trying to navigate the rapidly evolving landscape of artificial intelligence today.
Thank you for joining us today. Buy the book at the AI Coach website for more business insights. And finally, maybe consider this. The principles we've discussed today, building on strong foundations, adapting effectively to specific needs, and ensuring alignment with intended outcomes, these aren't actually unique to large language models, are they? Where else in your own work, or maybe even your life, might these concepts offer some valuable insights or a useful way to think about challenges? Something to mull over.